Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems again, and welcome back to MX Simulator, where today we're going to be playing the replica version of the 4th round of Monster Energy Supercross from Glendale. I already forget. State Farm Stadium, is that what it's called in Glendale? It used to be University of Phoenix Stadium, now it's State Farm Stadium, I believe. In Glendale, Arizona. It's about 20 minutes outside of downtown Phoenix. And it's one of, in my opinion, the better stadiums that we race in all year long, not just because of, like, it's a good stadium, but the racing surface is one of the biggest that they'll use all season long, because they have the ability to actually take the field, which is real grass, and just roll it outside of the stadium down by where this red zone corner is. It's actually outside of the stadium behind that. Here, I'll turn that red zone area. It just goes straight out the back of the stadium and sits in an open field out there and cooks in the sun and gets some nice some growth out there. So they roll that thing out, and then they obviously use the entire floor space of the football stadium, and then they use that little extra space back there where it's like the red zone. So now, like, this entire section of the racetrack would not exist in a regular football stadium. They have the ability to go all the way back here. And it usually makes the racing track a lot better. So I'm always excited when we come to this round. And I'm even more excited this week because it's a Triple Crown round. So before I start talking about real life a little bit, which is usually what I do on these videos, just want to break down the sim track a little bit this week because it was pretty good racing last night in the MX Sim Pro race that happened. I like the track this week. I've played a version that my friend Zach Dupuis has been building in MX Bikes. I've played that a lot, so I was already pretty familiar with this track going in. And it's not necessarily like my favorite Glendale. I think it's like almost a little bit more standard of a track. Pretty straightforward rhythm lanes, except for that turning rhythm. That's going to be kind of exciting. But, basically this whole side of the track seems like it's pretty standard. Whoops, going back and forth across the start straight like this, essentially, and then finish line jump. Finish line jump has this cool like double and then hip double combination thing going on. Curious how that's going to be built, because usually they build it stuff like this a little bit different than they show on the track map, but it still may make some really cool like whip photos off of that little floater double right there. Very excited to see what kind of photos we get this weekend. But yeah, this track is it's a good track. Again, it's a long lap time, which is always good. Kind of adds a little bit more flair to the track, I feel like, when you have longer laps, which means that we could even see pretty short Triple Crown main events. I think last year the shortest Triple Crown main event was somewhere in the area of 11 laps. But no, actually, I think there was a 10-lapper at Anaheim 2, now that I think about it. Anaheim 2 is obviously in a baseball stadium, so the tracks are always a little bit longer because they can use 90s and stuff like that. But yeah, this track is going to be a long one, and it's going to be a fun one to watch for sure. So let's talk a little bit about some real life discussion this week to bring you guys into the action this weekend from Glendale. I will be at Glendale, which I pretty much have been consistently the last 5 years at this point, but I'll be there again working. I may just be able to squeak in at press day, but I probably won't be able to because I'm driving all the way there tonight, or not, tomorrow morning I should say, from my home in Southern California. Don't think I'll be able to make it to press day. We'll see, but I will be there pretty much all day Saturday. So if you're around, come say hi. Message me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and let me know you're around. It's always a good time to meet up with some people that watch my content, whether you're a fan or not. It's just nice to say hey and pick your brain about the race for the night. Always love doing some bench racing. So I'll be around. But yeah, going to be a very exciting weekend of racing because we have a lot of drama coming off of this 250 West region race last week. Obviously the Christian Craig Dylan Ferrandis drama. Unfortunately, we lost Jet Lawrence, but kind of hidden in all this is Austin Faulkner getting hurt, or not really getting hurt, but going down while running in second and appearing to get hurt and ending up finishing in 17th place. And now Faulkner has to go back to the drawing board again. He was almost, right on the cusp of championship lead, championship scenario after his win in St. Louis, and then had a terrible race at 8-2. But fortunately, he has a Triple Crown coming, which I did an article this week on RacerX Online called The List, Triple Crown Stats, where I looked at the statistics over the last 6 Triple Crown races that have happened, which are the only 6 thus far. And Faulkner is dynamite in these things. He has won, the gate has dropped 9 times in races for him and he's won 5 of these main event, whatever you call them, races, sprint races, whatever you call them, that are now 10 minutes plus a lap. He's won 5 of them out of 9 tries, so he's going to try to keep a pretty good streak going this weekend. He's led 63 laps or something crazy like that. Just crazy statistics for just a short sample size here of only really 3 races, because he's been on the East Coast this entire time. This is his first time in West Coast since 2017 when Triple Crowns didn't exist. And so they've only done 3 Triple Crowns on the East. This is his first Triple Crown on the West, but he's really good at them. What I guess we don't really know is if he is really great at this track. Glendale, this stadium, this dirt tends to get pretty hard packed, slippery. Blue Groove and Faulkner being from Missouri, a little bit more the middle of the country where the dirt is softer and breaks down a little bit more, may not be exactly his jam. This, slick, tight, or not tight, but just slick track where, you have to have a decent bit of throttle control. I think that's going to play a bit of a factor with everybody, because we're going to see guys probably pushing the limits of traction on a track like this where you're trying to just carry speed everywhere. I think the corners may break down a little bit because they tend to water them a lot here, but I think the whoops will get really, really hard, cupped out. Blue Groove coming in, Blue Groove coming out. The start straight obviously is going to get pretty blue grooved out. It's just the nature of this track, man. It's inside of a dome. Sometimes they have the little roof flap, as I call it, open. And that lets air in, obviously. It kind of, gets a flow going and dries the track out even more. But we'll see. Very curious to see how this track is actually kind of built and how they water it and all that stuff for this weekend. But I will say that I think Austin Faulkner is going to have a lot to prove this weekend, obviously. He needs to get himself kind of back into, just kind of discussion for anything, because right now he's kind of sitting, scratching his head a little bit. He's gone technically 3-1-17, but he's actually gone 5-1-17 because he got penalized at the opener. So yeah, he's got some work to do to get himself back into a championship scenario here, which fortunately for his sake, Ferrandis already has a 12th to his name, but unfortunately for both of their sakes, Justin Cooper is a podium machine so far in his career. He very, very rarely finishes off the box, and being that he's the points leader, he's obviously going to want to do everything he can to keep that streak going. And Triple Crowns almost kind of lend to, if something weird happens, you can save yourself. Like last year, Cianciarulo crashed in both Triple Crown events that he raced in at A2 and Houston, but he still finished top 5 in both of them, because one of them he finished 14th, one of them he finished 16th, but then he finished 5-2, 2-4, or whatever in the other races and still got a top 5 score, which means that he picked up fifth place points exiting. So it's really not so much about the magical night or whatever. Like if you go 1-1-1, it's great, but you still only pick up 1 first place points position essentially. These Triple Crown formats always seem to be more about like, don't go down on the start, stay up front with the leaders while you can, don't crash obviously, and just kind of keep your level head about you, and maybe at the end of the night you come out with a win. There's been guys already that have won these Triple Crown events with having wild all over the place scores, so we'll see how it kind of plays out. I think that now, unfortunately, without Lawrence there, we're kind of already looking at like a little 3/4 pack of guys that maybe have the potential to win. Like, I hate to write some guys off, but I really think that we're down to pretty much Ferrandis, Cooper, Faulkner, and maybe Christian Craig, who can win races now. I didn't think Lawrence could, so I guess we could have like a surprise shine through similar to what Lawrence did, but I haven't seen much of anything great out of Alex Martin. Brandon Hartranft has been good, but I don't think he's a race winner yet. There's no Cameron McAdoo yet from PC Cowie. Moseman has looked fast but sketchy. Like I think it's down to just a couple guys here that are going to start clicking off wins pretty consistently, which is a bit of a bummer because it seemed like the series was a little bit more wide open than that after a week of racing. But it's going to be weird to see, because I think this longer start is going to help the Star Bikes get down the start a little bit better. They've not had good starts most of this season thus far. That'll help them having a longer start, because those Yamahas are just churning out horsepower from every direction of the engine. And Faulkner gets great jumps, but we haven't seen whether or not that lasts all the way down the straightaway. I know Pro Circuit builds great bikes, but are they going to be outstarted by the Yamahas, or is that just going to be a thing that Faulkner can carry all the way down the straight? I don't know. Going to be interesting to see. But this 250 class, obviously, with this Craig Ferrandis thing going on, kind of a lot of weird talking points to definitely look at. Maybe even some retaliation. Craig says he's past it. We all know how these guys are. They get, you know, the helmet on, they get on the racetrack, and the true colors, I guess, kind of come out. So definitely excited for the 250 class this weekend. As for the 450 class, as part of my article, I emphasized this. Eli Tomac is very good in these Triple Crown events, and he's also really good at Glendale. Like, this is where he turned his 2017 season around. He wasn't exactly lights out last year or anything crazy like that, but he was pretty good in 18 as well. So I don't know, like, we saw Blake Baggett pick up the win here last year. Jason Anderson was good. Ken Roxon was good. But it's Triple Crown, different format. Who's going to get good starts? Tomac does not get good starts, but I don't know. Triple Crowns seem to work in his favor somehow. Maybe he gets good starts in just Triple Crowns. I don't know. Cooper Webb is a pretty good guy when it comes to Triple Crowns. He won 2 of the 3 last year. It's still, like, Tomac was really good last week, but we've gotten to the point, right, where we can't expect that to be the norm with Tomac. Like, he can be really good one week and a 7th place guy the next week, and it'll just be like, that's exactly right. That's just exactly what we can expect out of Tomac at this point. You know, it sucks to say, but that's just the reality. Like, that's where we are with him. And until he kind of proves that his track record is straightened out a little bit, I think that's what we're going to have to believe. Ken Roxon comes in as the red plate holder. Justin Barcia needs a turnaround week. Some guys need, you know, big boosts at, like, Blake Baggett after he crashed while going for the lead last week. If he gets another start, he could do well. Brayton is always really good in these Triple Crowns. It's Glendale, and Mookie was so good in the whoops at Glendale last year. Yeah, there's a lot of different things coming into play for this 4th round. I still think it's much more wide open than almost it looks. Well, it actually looks pretty tight still, because Roxon only has 3-point lead on Barcia, 5-point lead on Tomac. And then I think, like, Anderson is there with only 9 down or something like that. Osborne is working his way back into the mix after a couple top 5 finishes. This is definitely close. Yeah, Cooper Webb is also right there as well. I still think that this is more wide open than it appears. And I think that this weekend we may even see another new winner. Maybe Cianciarulo wins. Maybe Webb gets his thing back on track. I don't know. I just think that we've had 3 winners in 3 rounds so far, and I just have a hunch that trend's going to keep going. I picked him last week and I was wrong, and I don't really want to pick him again this week because he's not very good at Triple Crowns, but I feel like Cianciarulo's got to have a win coming, right? Like, there's no way you lead every single practice session and qualifying session but one thus far, and you are not winning races yet. That's crazy to me. Like, he's going to do it soon, right? So I'm just going to, against my will, pick Cianciarulo again, because I think that he's a good starter. Obviously, he won the Monster Cup, so he like gets this whole, you know, 3-race format thing on a 450 at least, even though if he was kind of sketchy on a 250. I don't know, man. I think he might get it done. It's still too early in the season to say for sure Eli Tomac is back, or Ken Roxon has his starts and he's good to go, or like, we still need more sample size, and I think that we may just see some more fireworks this weekend, so we'll have to see. Very excited, though. Glendale, like I said, always one of my favorite races to attend, to watch, to go to be a part of, etc. I heard some rumors that this was actually potentially going to be the last round of Supercross. Obviously, Salt Lake paid to have it. I don't think many people are stoked Salt Lake has it, but I would have actually been pretty okay with this being the last round of Supercross. And here's why. Like, so this stadium, right, it's going to hold a ton more people than Sam Boyd Stadium. You have the potential to go outside of the stadium. They've already done it once, so you could do something similar to what they do at Sam Boyd for the finale and kind of make it, you know, fun in that aspect. And this stadium was almost purpose-built for the Super Bowl. Like, legitimately, if you walk across the street, there's like a mall with like tons of restaurants, places to shop, things to go do. I haven't really like looked too much into whether there's hotels nearby, to be honest with you, but I think that there's enough, like there's spring training baseball camps pretty much in every direction around the stadium as well. So obviously there's hotels because people come out for spring training and stay the night in the hotels and watch their favorite team. But I think that this would actually have been a pretty successful final round if they had selected it to be so. And I think it would have been cool because it's such usually typically a pretty good racetrack and climate control. It's in a dome technically, like you could close the roof. So you're never going to have a moist or wet race on the final round. Like normally you don't at Vegas, but we did anyway. And Salt Lake City, sometimes it snows there. So you can always guarantee yourself on a track like this to have a nice, dry final race of the year. It sounds like they're thinking about going to Carson when the new stadium is built. Or not Carson, Inglewood, I should say, when the new Ram Stadium is built. That's going to have to go through a lot of legalities, obviously. And then it sounds like once the new Raider Stadium is built in Las Vegas, that will be the finale until they come up with something new or something different. And there's always discussions about Supercross moving international and yada, 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 but that's all for a different day. But just on this stadium alone and the potential of it being a finale at one point, I think I would have liked it. I think some people would have been like, Phoenix finale, blah. But I mean, Salt Lake finale, blah. Like it's kind of the same thing, you know. Like if you're gonna have it being like not like one of the coolest cities ever in the U.S. Like people come to the U.S. just to go to Vegas, but I don't think people are like coming all the way from New Zealand and they're like, dude, I'm definitely about to go to Glendale, Arizona. But maybe, I don't know, some people might, but I'm just saying, like, normally speaking, if you're going to have a big final showdown, put it in a city where it's like exciting and people actually are keen to visit it. I like Glendale. I lived in Phoenix at one point for a brief period. It's okay, but I don't know. I'm going to miss Vegas this year. But I would have been okay with this stadium hosting the final round. I'll just say that. So anyway, as always, appreciate you guys watching. Really enjoying making content for you guys lately. Getting some more time to do so with my new job at Racer X, so that's been a blast. And can't thank you guys enough for the continued support. Everything that we do here on Star Your Systems, always trying to give back to you guys as much as we can. And loving life right now. So everybody enjoy watching Glendale this weekend. I'll enjoy being there or watching it with you myself. And yeah, we'll have a good time chatting about it Monday when that time comes around. So I'll see you guys on Monday with some recap of Glendale from the weekend. Kellen here on Star Your Systems saying so long for now.